everyone, my name is Shauna, in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video.
So as I was editing this video, I noticed that my cat was crunching on her food in the background and you can hear very loud chewing noises. So I want to just put a little misophonia warning here. No shame if you need to click away from this video. Sorry if you can't watch this video because of that, but just need to put a proper warning on here so that anyone who needs to avoid this video can.
So I binge watched an anime over spring break and I want to talk about it. I had to look up how to say the name of this anime, so I really hope I say it right. Kakegurui? I was saying Kakegurui, but I looked it up and it said Kakegurui. So this anime is one that's like really popular and lots of people are cosplaying the characters, but I feel like people don't talk about what it's actually about that often, and I have some very strong thoughts on it. And let me just get it off my chest. I don't know whether I liked or disliked this show. Like, I'm very torn. There are things I liked about it, things I hated about it. I couldn't stop watching it, but like I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites or anything like that. So I'm gonna sort of say like my overall thoughts without giving away too many spoilers, and then to talk about season 2 I'm gonna need to talk about spoilers a little more, and so I will be doing some spoilers, but I will warn you before I start the spoiler section, and it'll be very mild spoilers. I'm not gonna spoil like any major plot point or anything like that. So this anime is about the school, and at the school there's a middle school and a high school there, but it focuses primarily on the high school, and basically the like social hierarchy of the school and who gets to be on the like student council is decided by gambling, and players risk it all in gambling, and if you lose and you're in debt, then your life is basically controlled by the student council and other classmates treat you like crap. So as you can tell, it's a very like intense show. Like, it's not one for just casual light watching. It isn't going to be all happy-go-lucky all the time. So the gambles were always really overly complicated. They weren't always explained that well, but they were always like shocking at the end. So like my mind was always blown at the end of every gamble after it was done. However, the gamble was like so complex that I kept having to look up the episodes after I was done watching each episode to understand the gambles and what really like went down after I was done. So I had to put in like research to understand fully what was going on in the show. I couldn't just like watch each episode and understand everything about it. All the characters were like morally gray, bordering on just being terrible humans. I mean, they all like weren't fully thinking through each decision because they were all obsessed with gambling. So like they literally put their life on the line for a gamble. So like they weren't thinking clearly, and everyone seemed to be mean to each other except for Ryota. Ryota wasn't mean to anyone. Ryota is the only character that didn't do anything that I wouldn't have done. Like, he seemed to be the most like generally positive and kind character. Like, all the characters did some things that were really not okay, really pushed people's buttons, and were really rude to each other, except for Ryota. So it's like complicated because, I mean, I would say that most of them are morally gray as opposed to just terrible. Like, they were terrible in my opinion, but like they're more morally gray. They're like Snape's, you know? Because Snape is a morally gray character. Like, think about that. Like, it's very complex, each character. And sometimes I would like a character for like a couple episodes, then hate them for the rest of the season. Like, it really varied. And there's 2 seasons of this anime, by the way, 24 episodes in total. And it is a Netflix original. There's no word yet whether we'll be getting a season 3, but I really hope that there is a season 3, and I will explain why I hope that there's a season 3 later in this video. Let's get back to the characters though. I liked the character designs generally. I thought they were done really well. I like the character designs so much that I'm actually considering cosplaying one of the characters. There's one character in particular that I'm interested in cosplaying, and this character is a character who's in a wheelchair. You don't meet her until season 2, and the reason I want to cosplay her is because like she's such a powerful character. Even though she's in her wheelchair, like being in a wheelchair doesn't take away from how strong of an opponent she is in the gambling ring. And also, I use a wheelchair sometimes, but I always hate cosplaying when I'm in my wheelchair, and I like hate using my wheelchair because I just feel like everyone looks at me differently. But like maybe if I cosplay a character who is in a wheelchair in the show, maybe that'll give me more confidence to cosplay while in my wheelchair. I didn't like the character designs though, especially in the first season. They did it less so in the second season, where they're like really concentrated because their faces like look bizarre. It's so weird. My favorite character in the show as a whole is Rei, but you don't meet Rei until season 2. And then my second favorite character would be Ryota, since he is the least terrible out of all the characters. Like, there's something about Rei's character that's just really interesting, and with some twists that happen with Rei's character, but like Ryota's also so kind, and like even Rei does some things that like aren't okay. So like I have very conflicted feelings on this whole thing. I really enjoyed the soundtrack for this series. It's like really stressful and intense, the soundtrack, but like it fits so well with each scene. I was listening to the soundtrack again last night because I love it so much. It's like not one where I can listen to it if I'm calmly trying to do schoolwork, but it's one that I'll like listen to while I'm scrolling through Instagram, and it's really nice to listen to. And I love especially the intro theme for the first season. That one was incredible. My biggest complaint about this series is that they sexualize the minors for no reason. So all of them are under the age of 18, yet they're all extremely sexualized. They do sexual things because they're made happy by things that shouldn't make you do sexual things. Like, I'm trying to be very, very vague about this because I don't want to be like completely inappropriate when I'm talking about this, but like it just does some things that makes you really uncomfortable that aren't okay when it comes to the sexualization of the characters. And anime in general sexualizes minors a lot, like a lot more than I would like, but this one is like particularly bad when it comes to sexualization. Like, I was made very uncomfortable by several of the characters. There's one character in particular, Midori I think is her name, and just the way that she's sexualized, like, oh, no, I don't like that at all. And now let's move on into season 2, because that was sort of like season 1 / my overall thoughts on the series as a whole. So season 2 I liked a ton more than season 1. It's much tamer, so there's much less like sexualization of things, there's much less like violence, like not necessarily violence, like risk of violence, I guess, because Midori was doing some things that were like risking violence in season 1, you know? I also really liked the election in season 2. I thought that was really interesting and I wasn't expecting that, so I really enjoyed that. However, the election like wasn't fully resolved in season 2, and that's why we need season 3, because we didn't get to figure out who won the election at the end of season 2. So it left on like sort of a cliffhanger. So like we need another season right now to get answers. But when I was looking online whether we're going to get a season 3 or not, like there was no confirmation of whether we're getting a season 3 or not, and some people are leaning towards thinking that we're not, since it's been so long since we last got news about the anime. I also think we need a season 3 because the way that Yumiko's story arc ended in season 2 like didn't make sense to me at all. She was acting so out of character, and I really want an explanation for that because it just didn't make sense given her character and how when she went through hard things and things that she wasn't expecting in previous episodes in the series, she didn't all of a sudden act out of character, and she still won like every time despite like all of the hardships in the previous episodes. So I was like, what the heck is happening at the end of season 2? Like, I'm not gonna say the specific spoiler because it is the like very end of the finale of season 2, but like she acted so out of character that it frustrated me so much. Also, like at the end of season 1 something really gross happened, which is Itsuki ripped off her fingernails, and throughout all of season 2 they kept like showing that over and over. Well, not all of season 2, but like the first half of season 2 they kept showing her ripping her nails off over and over, and I was like, freaking stop. Like, it's bad enough that you are having bandages on her fingers permanently, like showing the blood seeping through. I'm like, stop showing her ripping them off with her teeth. One thing too that I probably should have said in the first section is that there's a lot of sound effects in here that if you have misophonia, like they're gonna make you really uncomfortable and possibly cause you pain, so like teeth chattering. And if you have misophonia and you haven't heard super extreme teeth chattering like sound effects in media, just know that this anime may be a little bit uncomfortable for you. Although I know that I'm speaking about misophonia right now and most of you probably don't have it, but I have it. I was a little uncomfortable with some of the noises in the show. The only other thing that I have to mention that I actually liked about this anime was I really liked Kade's and Itsuki's dynamic in season 2, and I really wish that they would have like touched on that more and gone more in depth into that. And I sort of want to read fanfiction now of a ship between them because I'm actually like really interested in them and their dynamic, and I wasn't a huge fan of either of them in season 1. However, they like changed in season 2, they became more interesting in season 2, and if there is a season 3 I really hope there is a lot of time devoted to developing the connection and dynamics between these two characters. I'm not saying relationship because technically they're not in a relationship at the end of season 2, but like the potential's there, you know? So as I said, I have very mixed feelings about this anime. I do not know whether I like it or I hate it. Like, there's good things about it, there's bad things about it. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but like I definitely want to cosplay some of the characters. So like give this one a shot if it sounds interesting to you, but like if it doesn't sound interesting to you, don't feel bad about not watching it. It's really popular to cosplay the characters from the series, and I think that's in part because they're so recognizable. But yeah, that was really my major thoughts on this anime. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to me as well. All of my other social media will of course be linked down in the description below. I upload videos twice a week, so my next video will be uploaded next Tuesday, and that will be a book related video. I hope all of you stick around to watch that video, and until next time, goodbye!